get started here. So, good morning, everyone, and welcome to 4 powerful days before Incredible Business Mentors. And we are kicking off 2021 with 4 incredible business people this week. And today we have Carolyn Barker-Brown with us from Community Futures. Tomorrow, Wednesday, we have Gary McDonald with Clearview Training from Sterling, Ontario. And we have a gentleman called the App Guy, Saki. He is coming to us from Toronto. And Lynn Teetree from Peterborough. She's going to go live with confidence. She's going to talk to us about Facebook and how to go live. So, fabulous lineup this week. I'm excited, and I'm hopefully you guys are too. I'm sure you're going to gain lots of insight and helpful information to take back to your business and go to a next level. Now, before we get started, I would like to ask that if you have any questions, to pop them in the chat box, and we will have those questions answered at the end of before the session's over during our Q&A. Now, it is with my pleasure to introduce our speaker today, and that's Carolyn Barker-Brown with Community Futures. And Carolyn joined Community Futures in 2005. Now, she's born and raised in Bancroft. She's got an entrepreneurial background, and she's a graduate of. She's operated her own business for 15 years. And Carolyn acquired the position as loan officer and small business advisor for Community Futures. And she has a passion to ensure that entrepreneurs are successful and offers excellent support to businesses through counseling and training. So it's my pleasure to introduce Carolyn. And Carolyn, the floor is all yours.
Well, thank you, Sherry. That was a very, very nice introduction. Knowing that someone thinks of myself and the organization of Community Futures as great mentors is a very, very nice thing to say, and we're very, very proud of that, so thank you. Yeah, so just going back a little bit, what Sherry was mentioning with myself, born and raised in Bancroft, and grew up. My great-grandparents actually started the dairy called Bancroft Dairy. It was actually the first dairy in Bancroft where they processed all of the milk. My grandparents went to take that on and they expanded it into a commercial space downtown Bancroft, which my family actually still owns. They called it Bancroft Dairy. We had a pop shop. So we had a lot of tourists coming to the areas. And basically, we were the only dairy at that time. I remember when Seal Test and Nielsen's and different brand names like that started coming into Bancroft. It was like, no, you know, so it's been interesting to see over the years growing up in Bancroft, all the changes and all the, you know, with everything with the businesses. As I mentioned, our location was actually downtown, and I think I spent more time helping out with the family business than I actually did at home. So I've seen a lot of different changes. Actually finished high school in Madoc, so very aware of that area that we also serve. And then my grandparents actually went on to sell to Kawartha Dairy, which is a very, very popular name now. So having the dairy bar and seeing how hard my parents and my grandparents worked being entrepreneurs has actually given me a lot of insight on what business owners go through. I do realize that's not just a 9-to-5 position. There's a lot of times where I saw my mom coming home and bringing home the financials and working at those with the dining room table. And even as teenagers, we were expected to help with the business. I think I've scooped so much ice cream that I have one stronger arm than the other. So it's given me a great insight on what it takes to be an entrepreneur. So I was very lucky. I went to Loyalist College. I have my small business bookkeeping, and that's actually how I started at Community Futures. And I'm going actually into my 16th year. I'm a loan officer and small business advisor position in 2012. That's a little bit about me. I always like to share my story because I'm very, very proud of my family and business that they actually had in Bancroft. And thank you all for joining today. So if you're comfortable, just a show of hands, how many people currently do have, I know we have a couple of people just on the phone, but how many people actually do have their own business right now?
All of us do here that's
Perfect.
online.
So, perfect, excellent. Well, again, thank you for joining, and I hope that I'm able to give you a little bit more insight on to what Community Futures can offer you. So I do have a small presentation. Are you able to, can I share that screen now, Sherry?
Yes, you may.
Okay.
Raise my hand. Ouch. Ooh, okay.
Okay. Does everyone see the screen okay?
Yes.
Yep.
Oh, perfect. Okay. All right. So, Community Futures, who are we? So we are a community-based non-for-profit organization. We are governed by a board. They actually come from all the municipalities that we service. And we are funded by the federal government. So the picture that you see on your screen, that is our office that's located in Bancroft. We do actually service quite a large area, which I'll go over with you later. Our main office, though, is in Bancroft. And before COVID, I was very fortunate. I was able to drive to a lot of the different businesses in our area, which is something that I truly have missed over the last year, and I'm hoping that eventually we can get back to that same routine. It's really nice to go out to see the businesses, you know, understand where the business owner is coming from, what their needs are. As of right now, because of COVID, we are actually doing everything online or by telephone. I do work in the office for the most part, and that is our office there. Okay, so our mission statement, we actually provide programs and services to support enterprise, community-based development, and employment in our area. So we have actually been, this is actually our 31st year that Community Futures has been in Bancroft in our area. And as I mentioned, I'm going into my 16th year with Community Futures. Worked with a lot of different programs and services over those years, whether it was with loans or different grants, working with other organizations. So those things do change on a yearly basis. It depends on, you know, what agreements we have or, you know, basically what new programs the federal government comes out with. So a lot of different programs that we've offered. So it is something that probably you should check with us on a regular basis. We do have everything on our Facebook or our website as well. But I'm going to go over a couple of the programs that we're offering currently. So Community Futures, we are a national program. There's actually 267 offices across Canada, and there's actually 61 located in Ontario. We're all located in rural communities. And the main thing that we do, we do have financing solutions for business. So I'll go over a couple of the different loans that we have currently right now. We also offer business counseling and support, so that can be through our workshops. Again, all of our workshops are on our website or they are on Facebook. Or we also offer one-on-one counseling. So a lot of times clients will call and they're looking for counseling services with you know, their cash flow or business plan or marketing. And we have a different people that we can offer to provide those services to people. And then we also have, we focus on community economic development as well. So this is our service area. As you can see, it's a little bit of an odd area. It really depends on the municipality where you live, but I just basically say to people, we cover up to Whitney and down the Madoc, Marmora, and Tweed area. So our office is located right in the middle. We cover 11 municipalities, including the township of South Algonquin. And depending on, and it sometimes gets a little difficult down towards your area, Sherry, with Marmora, Madoc, and Tweed. We also deal with a lot with the Trennville office. And so basically it's just a matter of having that conversation with the client, actually seeing where their business is located, and that would determine which community futures you would deal with. So first, the financing solutions for your business. So if you're looking for funds to start, expand, or maintain your business or social enterprise, we can definitely help you with that. We have a lot of flexible financing solutions. So we have reasonable interest rates. We offer seasonal payments. So a business example for forestry, where they have like their spring breakup, they're looking for higher payments throughout the year. We can offer them seasonal payments. And all of our loans, there's no prepayment penalties. So a client can pay off their loan at any time without any payment penalties or discharge fees. So a couple things that we have here on the slide. The first one is the Ready Money application. So that is a really easy application process for loans up to $10,000. All of the applications that I'm going to talk about today are actually on our website, or you can give me a call and I can always email you or even go over the application with you on the phone. That's not a problem. So that one is quick turnaround. I find a lot of people will apply for the Ready Money loan in the spring when they're looking at maybe purchasing inventory or just a quick piece of equipment that they need to process or to purchase. So that is that particular application. The middle slide is the Rural Innovation Initiative, and that is the current grant program that we have. So we do have that on the slide. We do want people to be aware that we do have grants that come through the office. Now because of the time of year, this particular grant program, all the funds have actually been fully allocated for that. And as I mentioned, we've had different grant programs over the years. Sometimes this particular one actually was based on technology and innovation. And we really, again, we don't know what's coming up with those particular grants. For April 1st, 2021, we have not been told if we are getting another grant program right now. But again, that is something that we definitely advertise on our Facebook and our website pages. And then the last one is the Regional Relief and Recovery Fund. This is to help businesses that are having a difficult time with COVID-19. So if anyone has been watching all the different programs, which there's been a lot of programs now, which actually can be sometimes confusing. And I have a lot of clients that will call and will just kind of go through all the programs that are available to assist businesses with COVID-19, just to see, what is best for them. But what originally happened when, at the beginning of the pandemic, there was the emergency bank account, or CBA as we call it. And that is the loan that you could get through the financial institutions, up to $40,000. If 75% of the loan was paid off before December 31st, 2022, then 25% of the loan was forgiven. When they first came out with that program, I believe the payroll, a business had to have a payroll of around 50,000. And then they realized that was really high for a lot of businesses. So they dropped that amount to 20,000. But we still have a lot of businesses, small businesses in our rural areas that do not have a payroll amount of that, of 20,000. So they gave Community Futures capitalization to offer the same type of program, but it's called the Regional Relief and Recovery Fund. And you don't have to have that amount of payroll. You don't actually have to have any payroll. Now, the main difference is between our particular program and the emergency bank account is we are only eligible to cover certain expenses. So things like property taxes and insurance, PPE. There's actually a list of different expenses that we're able to cover. And we're able to do those to cover the expenses from April 2020 till March 31st, 2021. So if anyone has not received any type of other federal type of program, if you have received another federal program, you just have to keep in mind that you're only able to access the forgivable or grant portion from one of the programs. So it's okay if someone has applied for the rent relief and they apply for the Regional Relief and Recovery Fund. We just have to make sure that we're not double dipping on certain expenses and that the client's only eligible for one forgivable portion. So that I still have funds available in that program if anyone is interested. And the application is on our website. It looks a little long, but I am more than willing to help people go through that application process and get that done for them. It's quite a quick process. Usually when I receive the applications, I can do a turnaround in about a week's time. Okay. So some other things that with our regular loans that people may apply for, we normally do up to 150,000. We can go up to 300,000. And a client may come to us for things such as operating costs. I already mentioned inventory purchase, someone who's looking just for a short-term cash flow needs, equipment and vehicle financing, or we also do commercial real estate as well. So when a business is actually looking at doing a startup or an expansion, sometimes the bank will not cover, or they don't want to hold a piece of equipment for security, or the business might be very new. They usually want 2 years financials. So that's actually why Community Futures is in place, is to help those businesses get started and either expand or even just a general startup. We do have some clients that move on and to the banks and they become bankable. And then we also have clients that really enjoy working with us as well. So on the business counseling side, we offer free confidential one-on-one business counseling. So I mentioned we have the business startup. A lot of businesses are just coming. What I've actually found during the pandemic just recently, because there's so many people moving from the city to rural areas, I have a lot of people calling me right now saying, hey, I just moved here. I'm thinking of starting my own business. What can Community Futures do for me? So that's actually been very interesting. I've done a lot of business counseling sessions for people that have moved from the city. So we will go through, I have a general check sheet, some different things that people may not have thought about. One that tends to be quite big is insurance. A lot of people don't realize they should have a liability insurance if someone slips and falls outside of their retail store. So we just basically go through that checklist, just make sure that they've thought of everything. And then that moves on to the business plan development. So just a chance for the client to actually put all those thoughts and ideas that they have about their business into a written form. And that's the biggest thing I find. People are, all these different ideas, but they never actually take that opportunity to sit and write everything down and think everything through. And then from that, we can do budgeting. So again, a cash flow statement, taking all those thoughts and ideas that they have on a business plan and transforming all of that into numbers on their cash flow, just to make sure that their business is going to be viable. And then we also do basic bookkeeping and taxation. So as I mentioned, my background is accounting, and I think it's extremely important that right from the very beginning that businesses keep track of those, the revenues and expenses, the way that Canada Revenue Agency wants you to keep track of them. It's very difficult for businesses to make any type of financial decision if they don't know where they've been. So I also don't mind doing the basic bookkeeping and taxation with people as well. Business training. So this is a picture actually of one of our women networking groups that we had, which again was a lot of fun. I look back at these pictures and it makes me miss having all of these meetings and face-to-face meetings and meeting everybody. But we've had a variety of different workshops and trainings. A couple of them I have listed here: marketing and social media, taxation and compliance, different funding opportunities. Melanie Wright, that works at our office, she looks after all of the grant programs, and she's excellent at finding, she's got a lot of great connections, first of all, to different organizations. So she's always looking at the information that comes in with different grants, and she's great at sharing all of those things on Facebook or even to clients that we have. She's aware of different clients that may apply for or be eligible for different funding opportunities. So she's a great resource at our office as well. We've also had work-life balance. And one of the new ones that we've had, and I actually just finished this program right before COVID, is the Retail Makeover Program. And I actually had the chance to work with Barbara Crowhurst, and she is amazing. She goes into different businesses and does a complete retail makeover. So I did a one-on-one training session with her over a series of 4 weeks. Vintage on Hastings in Bancroft was kind enough to let me work with their business. So it was a matter of going in, looking at everything as far as the layout, the lighting, product service, all of those different things, the outside of the building. And they allowed me to work with Barbara and suggest making those changes to their business. So it's definitely all about increasing your revenues, you know, and they did an amazing job. They jumped right on board, closed for the Christmas holidays, and did all the changes that we recommended, changed their cash register, and the feedback that they got was absolutely amazing. Everyone is so happy with the interior of the store. It's a great place for people to go in and shop. So I was very lucky that they were allowed me to work with them. So what I've done, I basically have all of that information into a package. And what we were offering before COVID was I would go into the business, have that conversation with them, give them the package. We can still absolutely do that. I have all of the packages ready to go. If anyone needs me to mail those out, or if they would like me to email them, it's something that we can do over the phone or separate Zoom meetings. And while the businesses are closed, or some of the retail businesses are closed, I do see a lot of people coming in, making some changes to the business and hoping that they can reopen soon. So anyone who is interested in the retail makeover. So we, as I mentioned, all of our workshops, grant opportunities, loan opportunities, those are all on Facebook. We also have everything on our website. You are more than welcome to give me a call at any time, and we'll definitely try to help you in any way that we can.
Well, Carolyn, that's quite the presentation, and thank you so much. I didn't see any questions coming into the chat box, but I am going to ask if anyone does have any questions, please open up with a question or two. So feel free to go ahead. So Carolyn,
there's a lot of information.
Yeah, there was a lot of information there, yes. Can I ask, what is available for people that are running home-based businesses? Okay, now I know that there's quite a few people now that have been working in the business sector, the downtown cores, and now they're changing, they're coming out and developing their own businesses. Is there anything available for grant-wise or for even any kind of initiative programs to get things going to help some of the small-based businesses that are working out of their homes now?
So the first thing that I'll touch on is just if someone were to, well, forget that we're going through a pandemic right now. Just if someone was starting their own business right now. So if someone was looking at doing a home-based business, which I do see actually a lot of, because the overhead is actually a lot lower. And a lot of people may work full-time. They want to do this as a side business. So they actually start and they grow their business that way. So we can definitely help. We've done loans for equipment, startup, renovations, that kind of thing. We really don't look at it any differently than any other type of startup. It's just obviously the overhead would be a lot lower. Now, for businesses, if they are affected by COVID-19 and they're making that transition from a retail space into their home, they could possibly look at the Regional Relief and Recovery Fund for the COVID-19. There is a section for assisting businesses if they have to change their markets. So if the business wasn't headed in a certain direction and they've had to completely turn their business around and try to target another market because of COVID-19, we could possibly look at that loan or that particular loan program as well.
Oh, that's great.
As far as grant.
As far as grants, you were saying, Carolyn?
So as far as grants go, with our particular office, we don't currently have, the only grant program we had was the Rural Initiative program that I already talked about, and those funds are fully allocated. But those were very much for tech. So anyone who was, again, changing their business, anything that had a technical piece to it that was either creating employment or making the process easier for the client, then that's what those programs were for. The main thing right now that I would suggest for people, and it's a little bit different right now because of COVID-19, and the government does seem to be coming out with, a lot of different programs, which can be very, very confusing. I've had a lot of phone calls right now, and I'm not sure if anyone is aware of the new provincial grant that they came out with. The applications are actually open for that one as well. And that one, I believe, is on the provincial website. They actually, on the provincial and the federal website, they have a ton of different grants listed to help businesses through COVID-19. So that's what I would recommend with people. They should look on those two websites to see if there's any grants available. I believe, actually I did hear that the provincial one, the application process just started, and I think that it was just crazy the amount of applications that they received. They were comparing a decrease in revenue from April 2019 to April 2020. But I did hear that the application process was very easy, and those, I believe, just opened up this week.
Cool.
And that's a grant from anywhere from 10,000 to 20,000.
Cool. Great. Now, excuse me, I have a couple questions here. A couple of the ladies would like to know if they can share all this information with some colleagues in other areas of the province. And that's Joanne coming from Coburg has asked that question, and I'm quite sure that there's no reason why we can't share the information and share the wealth. So please go ahead and do so, Joanne. The other question that's come in is Nicole is from Oakville. She is that's on with us today. She would like to know if there's any representation of Community Futures in the Halton region.
So there very well could be. I actually just had a phone call from a client the other week, and they were from Newmarket. As I mentioned, all the CFDCs are in rural areas. Sometimes I forget that I'm very, very rural. So places like Belleville and Peterborough and different areas of the city, they also have community features. The best thing for you to do for Joanne, who is actually looking at more information, or for the woman from Oakville, is to look on the Ontario CFDC site. And that will give you, it's called the OAC FDC, Ontario Association of CFDCs. You can actually type in your address and it will actually show you what CFDC you would deal with. Now, if you have a difficult time finding that particular CFDC on that website, please give me a call. I don't mind, or an email, and I don't mind looking that information up and getting you a contact name for that.
Cool. Excellent. Any other questions? Janice, you were had typed in that you were understanding that there's no grants available at this time until April, but there's just a matter, it's called the Regional Relief Fund. So it's just a matter of connecting here with Carolyn and seeing if you can tap into that 10 grand that's available through their Regional Relief Fund. Okay. So another question is coming up is, what is the interest rates on any loans?
So the interest rates, the interest rates actually vary depending on the security of the loan. So, and it also varies we also work with a variety of different organizations that will provide grants and a loan section. Prime rate right now is 2.45. Depending on the security, the lowest that we can go would be prime plus 2. But again, that's depending on the security. That would be very good security, such as a mortgage or something like that. The interest rates can go up from there depending on the security. So if we're holding a piece of equipment or if it's a general security agreement, usually the less amount of security, the higher interest rate. But all of those interest rates can vary.
Okay. So another question that came.
And that's a big, yeah.
No, go ahead.
Okay, I was just going to say too that that's a big question that I get when a lot of people will call. And just going back again to with bank financing. So a lot of people that are maybe starting up their businesses, if they're looking for a very small amount of funds, you know, maybe they have a line of credit or something like that that their bank will offer them with a much better interest rate. So I do see a lot of clients do that.
Okay. So now
but then we also deal with people too who really like to keep it.
Okay. So another question that came in is, are all the loans insured in the event of any death?
So depending on, again, that would be a case-by-case basis. If it is required that there needs to be like a life insurance attached to that loan, then that could be the case. But there are definitely some loans where there's not an life insurance policy attached as security.
Okay. Okay. And the other question that came in is, do you work with Peril? I understand, and myself and Janice understand you work with Peril. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's actually one of the organizations that we work with. Yeah.
Okay. Perfect. And so that's an option for all the women in the area, is the Peril group as well. And many of the local business women have had good luck with them as well. So yeah, so there's at least another option.
And that's and they actually have a grant attached with that. It's grant loan. And that's why they actually work with Community Futures. So that's basically a matter of creating your own women's group, getting a Peril circle, and looking at what's available for loans and grants.
Cool, excellent. Okay, is there any other questions for Carolyn? Oh, I see one here. Someone has asked, what is the definition of peril?
So the definition of PARO, so they actually are an organization. They started, I believe, in Northern Ontario, and they are a group that really supports women entrepreneurs. So they offer different counseling services. Basically what happens is you would get together with a group of women that you are very comfortable with, that support you in your business. And then they offer different counseling services. So they can help you with those groups. They can tell you about different programs that would be available. And the main thing is that they have a grant portion attached with that loan. So if someone's looking for more information on that, I can definitely give it to them. There's different tiers of grants and loans, but basically it's a very supportive organization for women entrepreneurs.
Okay, great. I see.
And I do have all that information.
Okay. So I see Janice. Thank you very much for inserting the link to Peril for anyone. If you click in your chat box, you can see that Janice has inserted the link as well, and that, so you can find the information there too. So anyways, is there any other questions, ladies, gentlemen? I know that there's a gentleman online here, so is there any other questions? Okay, well, if not, today's session is nice and short, but that's okay. I would like to say thank you very much, Carolyn, for joining us and sharing your insightful information. And I'm quite sure a few of us have learned a few things here. And I would like to say to everyone, we will see you tomorrow morning at 11. We have Gary McDonald coming in to talk to us about thriving in a generational culture and how to work with other different generations. And so it's going to be an interesting topic. Gary is from Sterling, and he has quite a big consulting business, and he's got about 30 years of experience. So it should be interesting tomorrow as well. And Carolyn, once again, thank you for joining us, and we'll see everyone tomorrow morning at 11. Have a great day.
Thanks for having me.
You're welcome.
Bye, everyone. Take care.
Thank you. Thank you very much.